Hello everyone, Ziggler here, Bork, chef, you can call me whatever you'd like. So lately I've been playing a lot of Cataclysm and I've been really enjoying the gearing part on both my both my warrior and on my DK. They have roughly the same item level and it's been super fun and everything, and the gearing has been very nice with just doing the dungeons and getting the new obsidian shards, or I think it's called the insidious. Is it that? Let's see it just real quick. Yeah, it's the obsidian fragment is the word name on it. So I've been really enjoying it rather than doing the freaking LFR once a week. So yeah, it's been really fun actually to gear it, and I'm working on getting up my paladin and my druid to 85 and gearing them, just so I can have a make a tier list later on which one that I prefer and which one has been the most fun and the strength and weaknesses and everything. But yeah, I've been enjoying doing it a lot. The only problem that I have with it, and I thought we're gonna discuss it today, is the luck of the draw, which is the buff that basically, just like it says, yeah, if let's say that you're grouping up with you're making a group with 4 people that you know of and you queue together, then you're gonna get this one. Let's actually make this one bigger. I think that's better, just so we can see a little bit better. There you go. So if you do that and it's just one random, then you're gonna get the 5% boost to everyone. And if you're 3 people that queuing up together and you get 2 randoms, then you have 10% boost for everyone. And then onwards, and this is the maximum one that you can actually have, the 15%. So if you're 2 people, then you're gonna have the 15%. But I don't really enjoy this kind of thing, and I thought I'm gonna discuss the reasons, and I have 5 reasons. I could probably come up with more reasons, and who knows, I might even just make them, say them on the go, because I just made this presentation, just so it's a little bit easier to talk around the subjects and everything, just so I don't ramble on, because then I have some sort of script, so to speak. But yeah, let's just go. So how it scales, I just mentioned it, but like it says, if it's one random player in the group, you'll get 5% boost to everyone, and that is the let's see what it is actually. I think it is 5 damage, 5 health, 5 healing or whatever. But technically it's just giving you a boost that makes it easier. You're making 5% more damage. If it's 2 random players and you're queuing with 3, then you're getting a 10. And if it's just 2 and it's 3 randoms or 5, if you're queuing alone, for example, you're getting a 15% maximum boost. So basically, if you're doing it alone or 2 people, you're gonna make 15% flat out more damage, and you're gonna have more health and healing and everything. So I'm not that much of a fan of it. I can see why they done it, but I'm gonna discuss why I don't like it, because I think it's actually hurting more than it's helping in a sense. So reason number 1 is it punishes playing with friends, which is the one that I'm saying. So let me just discuss this. There was the other day 3 of my previous friends, or they're still my friends, but they actually leveled up. They started playing again, and they were like, well, let's just gear together. And I was like, sure, that's much fun, playing with people, that's what this game is for. So I was like, obviously we can do that. But then I wrote like this: when you run dungeons with your friends or viewers, for example, let's say you're a streamer or whatever, you miss out on the buff's stat boost, making encounters harder than they would be with randoms. It feels like the game penalizes you for wanting to enjoy WoW's social side, slowing your runs and upping the difficulty for no good reason. And I mean, it's just there. It's Like, sure, I can understand that it's like, if you're together and, like, let's say you're on Discord, you can be more coordinated. But I mean, it's just a dungeon. It's not gonna be that hard, really. So it just incentivizes. Yeah, it's like, it penalizes, it punishes us if we want to play with friends. And that's what I hate. And the reason number 2 is it undermines your gear and effort. You've worked hard to gear up, but a random player with worse gear can outshine you just because they queue solo and got the buff. Like, sure, they're gonna get the 5% anyway, just like everyone else. But it's like, the more people you are, the harder it's gonna be. I mean, in my opinion, it would be better if it's just not there. That's my humble opinion on it. I'm not sure if this is correct though. But I mean, because they got the buff. But I mean, that doesn't matter. It's just, it punishes you for having great gear. So if you're queuing with 4 people and you have very good gear, and in a sense you're gonna make way less damage rather than if you're queuing alone. And I mean, if you're a DPS, you really want to be able to, like, go all out on everything and AoEing and seeing the big numbers. But if you're doing it with a group, the numbers are gonna be smaller. And as a tank, if you're playing solo and you have good gear, for example, you can pull way more, which is way more fun for everyone. I mean, it's just weird. It just undermines your gear and effort. And the reason number 3, it pushes you to queue solo. It really does. To get the buff and make runs easier, you might feel forced to ditch your group and queue alone. That clashes with your preference for playing with a crew, turning a social game into a social grind just to keep things efficient. I can understand that if you, like I said, if you're a whole group, you can be way more coordinated and everything. So, but I mean, in the end, you're making way less damage and you can pull way less, pretty much. It just feels weird. That's just me. I mean, I might be the only one that feels this way. But, and another thing, if I'm a tank and I queue with just 1 DPS, the queue time is way longer. I mean, it's not gonna be like extreme long. It's not like gonna be a queue as if you're playing a solo DPS. That's not the thing. But it's noticeable longer, because I can do like this, and let me just show you actually. Let's do like this, and I just gonna do like this and show you exactly what I mean. Oh, there we go. Let's do like that. So here I am in the game, on my warrior. Let's say that I wanna do a dungeon, and let's just say I wanna do a random protocol, and I queue. There, I already have it. Sorry everyone, that was in that queue. But I mean, it's like, it's instant pretty much if you're playing a tank. Which is also one of the reasons why I'm personally actually pretty much always playing a tank. But I mean, it forces me, in a sense, to play solo. Sure, some group, you might have to carry people. Well, like carry. But the thing is, like, if the randoms have lower gear, they're gonna make great damage anyway, just because of the buff. So if you're playing a solo, even if they have worse gear, if you're playing a solo, you're gonna have 15% more damage. So it's like, it doesn't matter, in a sense. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Like, I've been playing it, I've been playing solo the whole time, but there was this one time that I played with friends, and it's not like I'm complaining or everything, but it was so noticeable. Like, everything became way slower because I've been gearing 2 characters. I've been running all the 3 new ones The Well of Eternity, the Hour of Twilight, and the... I don't remember the name. What the hell? What was the names of it? End Time is the third one. But I mean, yeah, I just don't like it. And the fourth reason, downplays teamwork and skill. Here we go. I've been scratching on this. Your pre-made group should be an edge from coordination. Should have an edge from coordination. But the buff gives randoms a leg up instead. So it's disheartening when you're aiming for a smooth, skillful run and the system rewards sloppy play over your effort. So what I mean about this is that if you're queuing with people, compared to just like, let's say that we are 5 people. Let's say I'm 5 people, like me and 4 others. We're queuing up together, so we get no buff at all. We're getting no percentage at all. And then we have 5 other people that is queuing random. They all 5 in that group are gonna have a 15% more damage. It's just... It's screaming this. It's screaming the third thing. That it pushes you to solo queue, like it was for the third one. It's just weird, in my opinion. And I don't understand it. And I don't know if this is one of the reasons. It's probably not. And yeah, this is probably not the reasons why, like from Cataclysm and onward, like according to the old subscription graphs, that is going down. I'm not sure this is the actual one, but who knows? It might be a reason. I don't know, but I've never seen anyone talk that much about this. And the fifth one, it creates an unfair stat gap over time. As you and your group gear up through multiple runs, random group keep getting the buff every time, widening the effective power gap. Even if you're pulling ahead in skill and gear, their consistent 15% boost can make your progress feel less impactful, dragging out the grind unnecessarily. Like again, it pushes you to solo queue. I might be the only one that thinks this way, but it's just so sad to see. Like, I'm still gonna play solo most of the time, so I'm gonna get the 15% anyway. But I just feel like it's so sad. Like, whenever, like, for this once, I actually got to play with like old friends that came back and wanted to play, and we got no buff. And everything became way harder. And, like, they didn't have that much gear. So, and I had it 380. But if the other people don't have that much gear, like a healer and the 3 DPS, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get overrun from some of the new bosses. And the new effects from the randoms. With the new, like... the 3 colored oozes that can spawn on the new bosses. It's like, it is so, yeah, I'm not a fan of this buff at all. I never really been, but it was so noticeable this time. So I thought, like, I have to cover this. Like, I have to talk about this. I have to get this off my mind, in a sense. And here's an example of this. Chasing gear in a dungeon. You're grinding with your 4 friends, aiming for a best-in-slot trinket. This is just an example. Playing together feels punishing, while random groups with the luck of the draw buff breezes through with their 15% stat boost, while your crew struggles harder. A solo queued player with junk gear out-damages you. Their free stat making your hard-earned upgrades feel pointless. To match their speed, you're tempted to ditch your friend and queue alone just to snag that buff. Your group's tight teamwork doesn't get rewarded. Randoms rely on a boost instead of skills, and over weeks, their consistent advantage leaves your progress lagging. Even as your gear improves, pretty soon you're thinking solo plays the way is the way to go, really. Turning WoW into a lone grind instead of a team play. And the thing is, like, in comparison to 5 other randoms, let's say that you find a random tank, 3 random DPS, and a random healer. And let's say that this is just an hypothetical idea. Let's say that they, every single day, queue in random, and for some miracle happen, like reasoning, they're always getting into the same group together. Even if they're not queuing together. They're random queuing, so they're getting the 15% buff. After a while, they're gonna have the same gear, like the same dungeon gear, as the 5 of us. Me and my 4 friends, for example. They're gonna make 15% more damage playing solo. And me, with my friends, with the same gear as those other random players, are gonna make 15% less damage. And we're playing a MMORPG. Like, this is... I don't like this at all. I really don't like this. But it's like, it's there. I'm playing it. So what can I do? Not that much, really. And I'm gonna get, like, here are 5 quick reasons why people, including myself, seems to like the luck of the draw buff system. Because I can't only think of the negative things. Because I've read forums on this buff, on, like, Wowhead, and, like, I've asked in communities and stuff. And this is what the top 5 things that I thought of, and, like, what they've experienced. And it helps casuals like myself clear dungeons without a group. Absolutely. If you're playing this game more solo, it's very nice. It's very nice in that sense. But it punishes if you're playing with people. And it boosts randoms groups to offset their chaos. Because, absolutely, if you're queuing solo, some people might not actually know tactics or anything, but if you have a 15% damage buff, it doesn't really matter if, like, let's say one person dies during the encounter, you will most likely be able to kill the boss. Like, over all these runs I've done on both of my characters, I've never died that many times. But when I did it with my friends, we died way more. Like, way more. It's not like we died on every single boss. But it was way more, because on some trash, we actually died on some trash. Trash! It is what it is, but yeah. Speeds up solo queue... speeds up queue times for everyone. Yes and no. Like, if you're playing a healer, you have a somewhat quick queue. If you're playing a tank, you pretty much have an instant. And if you're playing... This is what hurts me a lot. I was in No Hit Jerome's Twitch this morning for a little bit, chatting with him, like typing in his chat and everything. I was discussing this, and it's like, I really would like to try and play a DPS in a dungeon. Let's say that I would love to be able to play, like, let's say DPS warrior, DPS DK, DPS hunter, or like mage. I would actually like to try that. But it's like, first of all, if you're playing a solo DPS, you have like a 10 to 15 minutes queue. And if you're used to less than like 10 or 15 seconds, that's a very long time. And the grinding is gonna take forever. It really does. So, yeah. And it encourages mixing friends with randoms for a bonus. Sure, I can see that, but it's, yeah. And it softens Cataclysm's brutal early difficulty. I can absolutely see this, and when I read this on, I think it was like Wowhead, that is like, but it's nice whenever you're, and especially now when you have the Twilight Protocol and everything, like once you're able to go into them, they are hard. If everyone has the minimum level to get them, they are not a pushover, in my opinion. They are really not. But like, and I never queued it with a group. Like, that would be insane. Imagine if you have the minimum item level and you queued into the new protocol. Even if you're somewhat coordinated and you don't have the buff, it's gonna be crazy hard compared to if you're doing it solo. It's gonna be way harder. And another thing why I also don't like this, if we'll go back to the reasons why I don't like it, it's like, the thing is, let's say I'm queuing solo as a tank, and I get into a group with 4 other people. We're only gonna get a 5% one. So then then it's like, it's such a bad buff, in my opinion. Because overall, if I get into that dungeon, and I'm queuing solo, and I'm the only one there, and we gotta get the 5% buff, let's say I'm queuing solo, just with the intent that I want to get it done quick, then I'm getting punished, because we're only gonna get a 5% buff instead of a 15 one, if we're gonna be 5 randoms. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just a weird buff. And this became more like a rant or whatever, but yeah, it's like, I'm still gonna play it, I'm still gonna level up and gear 2 more tanks. That's my plan, to get like to around 385 or something. I'm not gonna raid on them, but yeah, I'm gonna try and get every single one to 385 item level, and then make like a list or whatever, which one that I think is the best tank, the most fun tank, and like most efficient one, and everything, and the easiest to play, obviously. But yeah, what can I say? It's just, yeah, I don't know what to say about this buff. It's just, it feels a little bit better now that I have been able to talk about it like this, because whenever I do videos like this, it feels like I'm putting it out of my brain and I put it into a video, and I don't have to think about it as much because I've let it off my mind in a way. So that's why I do videos like this. Because it's like, some of these things, the videos, it's like, I really have to make a video about this because I can't really let go of it. So, yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, leave a comment down below if you agree, if you don't agree, or if you have another solution to this. I would be very interested to hear what's your take on this and everything. It would be very fun to read your point of view of this buff. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it, but I'm still gonna play it, so but it is what it is. Yeah, but if you click on any videos here, you're gonna see a video with me from the past, and I'm gonna greet you there with a Bork Bork, and I'll see you over there. Until next time, bye bye.